Greetings and welcome to the Daily XP Grind. My name is Chris and today we're going to be taking a brief look at Destiny's Iron Banner event, which began on the 7th of October and we'll be finishing tomorrow, the 14th of October. Now, the Iron Banner event was introduced and advertised as a variation to the PvP mode, the Crucible. The variation being that the power ratings and effects of weapons and armor will be taken into account. The announcement of the event declared, "Power matters. The attack and defense ratings for your weapons and your armor will be crucial to victory." There was even another post prior to the event stating that Iron Banner is not a level playing field. Now, with those impressions depicting a PvP world where the weapons and armor that players have either spent hours to grind for or even gotten extremely lucky to receive actually matter, why is it that some have not noticed a difference and many have actually experienced death at the hands of Guardians more than 20 levels their junior? My main source of information will be the weekly update on Bungie.net, which I will link in the description if you would like to read the whole post. This week's update involves an interview between Bungie's assistant community manager, known as Deej, and its senior designer, Derek Carroll. The opening statement from Deej echoes the experience of suffering at the hands of low-level players before launching into the first question: "Please tell us about how Iron Banner works." Now, the response to this was less than stellar. Senior designer Derek Carroll says, "The way we pitched Iron Banner did make it sound like a no-holds-barred playlist. In reality, we delivered what we felt would be a competitive experience for everyone, not just players at the level cap. The reaction from players seems to be, no, we want it to be bad for lower level players, that's the point." Now, firstly, they are aware that they pitched it in poorly in relation to what the experience actually provided, and secondly, if it was a competitive experience for everyone, what was wrong with their already established Crucible event, which has even stats across the board and is a very effective method of levelling the playing field? And as for wanting it to be bad for lower level players, that isn't necessarily the case. Most just want their weapons and armor to matter like they do in the PvE game, to match their best against other players and see what they can achieve. Now, to be fair to Bungie, he does also mention that this initial Iron Banner event is fairly conservative, implying that based on feedback, they will improve and adjust when necessary. Let's move on to our next quote, see how high-level gear impacts the game. It goes as follows: "Time to kill is the same when you're using higher-level gear against lower-level gear. The opposite is not true, so an enemy with average weapons is going to have a harder time taking you out." What I take from this statement is that powerful weapons do not matter to high-level characters, whereas high-level armor does affect your overall lifespan. This is confirmed in a later quote from the post saying, "Having a lot of defense reduces the damage you take from lower-level players. Conversely, having a lot of attack on your weapons or high character level for your abilities neutralizes the advantage higher-level players might have against you." So basically, low-level players can improve their abilities and weapons in order to take down higher-level foes, but those in the higher levels can only increase their defense to counter these weapons. In its simplest form, this is what the Iron Banner event involves. Higher-level guns do not impact gameplay, whilst higher-level armor does help. Lower-level guns can still counter higher-level armor. And does anyone else see a problem here? The only net difference that I can see is that lower levels actually stand a better chance now, making all those hard-earned exotics and legendaries almost redundant. Would it not have been a better idea to match players of similar levels against one another, rather than the Crucible method of matchmaking based on skill? That's one potential idea to take with them into the next Iron Banner event. And now, lastly, just to close, I will just say, whilst it is appreciated that Bungie post interviews pointing out the negative aspects of their game, it might be more beneficial to have the interviewer be someone who is not an employee of Bungie. That's my thoughts on the matter. I've been Chris, and thank you very much for listening.